Have you seen the power rankings? On today's episode, we explain, analyze, and maybe criticize the power rankings out there and where they have the Cubs on a Thursday edition. Here we go.
Are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to Locked On Cubs. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Best way to support the show is to make us your first listen each and every day. We're available on all audio platforms. You can also watch us on YouTube, subscribe, comment, and be a part of our community. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. And today's all things Cubs, as we are officially out of the offseason and in spring training season, the preseason, prior to opening day on March 30th. And as we build closer to the 2023 campaign, Sam, we are seeing the win projections, the over-unders, and the power rankings. And I have 6 places here that you would call reputable, but how reputable where they have the Cubs could be another story. How are you doing over there? And this is our final show of the week. We're back to 5 next week. It's baseball season.
You know what? I'm fine. I understand. First of all, let me preface my statement by saying I have a lot of respect for you, a lot of love for you as a friend, as a podcast partner, and among many other things.
Where's this going?
And I understand you have a job to do. So we're going to talk about these power rankings because Matt runs the show. He decides what we discuss. I'm just a pawn in this whole thing. But I'm going to say, and you haven't told me anything about, let me tell you something. You haven't told me anything about the power rankings or anything like that. You can miss me with that. Okay. And we'll get into it, and I'll say this: you know me, our audience knows me. That stuff, I get it. We got to do our dance around it. You can miss me with that, okay? I don't care what some guy behind his computer that gets paid $60,000 a year by MLB.com thinks we're gonna finish if he has us ahead or behind the Minnesota Twins. Means nothing to me. It gets solved on the baseball diamond, okay? That's where it gets solved. 10 games in, what if we're 8-2? That same guy's gonna have a corned beef sandwich and he's gonna bump the power rankings up by 12 spots. Go ahead, tell me, what are we, 24th, 30th, 19th? Miss me with it.
Well, if this is your first time here, we certainly have a unique delivery, and you certainly can't buy chemistry. And
I'm just so tired of it. I every day I get 3 texts. Sam, so-and-so has the Cubs at 78 and a half. Isn't that low? Yeah, it is low. We're going to crush it.
Yes, let's go. Enough is enough. I don't need any more win projections.
And also, I don't like, just one more quick thing.
Make a pitch.
I don't like how whenever Illinois is an embarrassing loss, the next day you wear Iowa gear.
Yeah, that's a coincidence, but I understand why you might have some.
That's a coincidence. Like I got nothing. Let's go.
All right, hey, good try. So I have 6 different outlets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. 8 different outlets here. Good thing I'm not a math teacher. So. The Cubs are ranked between 19th and 23rd in MLB, Sam. MLB.com, Bleacher Report, and Odyssey, home of 670 The Score.
Great app.
Other stations have the Cubs 19th. Okay, and that's the highest spot right now out there that has the North Siders. CBS Sports and The Athletic have the Cubs 20th. ESPN has them 21st, NBC Sports 22nd, and good old FanGraphs has the Cubs at a lowly 23rd position. Right. That brings us to an average of 21. We're the home of the 21st ranked Cubs here on the show. And not only does 21 sound low, but I am losing my level of care for these preseason projections. Quite frankly, you could get the shredder out. You could put it in the recycle bin, the right-hand corner of your screen. You could X out of that tab because the Cubs made a lot of improvements. Now, could the season play out into a situation where their win total starts with a 7? Sure. And we have countless episodes in which we can get into reasons why. But I am optimistic right now about this team. And if this is a 23rd ranked team in all the land, I'm going to have to see that with my own eyes because right now I don't believe that. 8 free agent additions, elite bats that are humming, a pitching infrastructure that's been rebuilt. How are they 23rd? And this is fun. I am excited talking about it, but the fact is right now I am dismissive of it because I do think that they're a top at least 18th place, maybe 19th, where a couple of these outlets have them. But I think they're on the precipice of the top half of the league.
You
They're
know,
not in the bottom third. They're not.
correct me if I'm wrong, because sports intertwine and stuff. There was a guy, remind me of his name. He was a quarterback from Michigan, and all the experts said that he was going to be should be about a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick in the draft. I think he got selected by the Patriots. He did okay.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's him. He did okay. There's plenty of examples all across this. Just look. They got a lot of guys that don't move the needle for a lot of experts. We, people that are close to the team, think they've made improvements. I'll say it for the 6,767th time on this program. I see them being around a 500 team. I think if Ross manages well and they steal some games that they need to get, because last year they lost a lot of games early on in the season that they shouldn't have, I could see 81 wins turning into 84, 85, 86. If Ross doesn't manage well and they lose a lot of close games and they have some of those losses like that last year where they're up 3-0 against Arizona, you go to the bathroom for 3 minutes and come back, they're down 4-3 in the ninth. Then I could see 81 becoming 74, 75 wins. But to me, they're right there, and it's going to be a few games either way to see if they're around or not. And like I said, this guy Paul made a great point to me on Twitter the other day. On 83, 84, 85 wins might not be in the hunt because the National League's loaded, right? Last year, 87, I think, got in with Philly, but Philly's going to be improved.
Well, which of the 6 teams that made it are going to be displaced? It's going to be very difficult.
Atlanta, Philly, the Mets, the
Padres.
Pods, the Dodgers, the Cardinals. Those
Exactly.
teams, those teams are going to be really hard.
Who's going to be knocked out?
So to sit here and say that, I'm booking plans all through October would be disingenuous to our listeners. But to sit here and say that I think they're the 23rd ranked team in baseball is also a lie. So I'm ready to let it play out. I'm ready for spring training. Cody Hoyer threw a bullpen today, which I just couldn't believe. That got me off my chair. That's the type of stuff I'm looking at. I don't care what Gary at MLB.com between breakfast and lunch does on his little website. He's not close to this team. Okay? Who still lives with his mother, by the way.
And I'm glad you got out of your chair. You can move around a little more during the workday.
Okay. Yeah, I could. I don't have great mobility or flexibility.
Well, Jed Hoyer did have a media availability today, and he commented on the projections. And we're going to get to that coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, the #1 sports book in the nation. Makes sense. We are positioning ourselves as the #1 Cubs show on the interwebs, and new customers can join today to get started with our great partners at FanDuel. They're the #1 sports book in America. Get started today with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, including soon, possibly as soon as next week, Sam, player props for the Cubs and other players in terms of home runs, RBI, different categories like that we could break down and localize to the blue and red level. You could also combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. This is all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at fanduel.com/lockdown. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On Cubs.
I have a quick question for our listeners. I'd like you to comment below with this because I think it could be a really good show in like a week or two. Who do you think is going to be the best Chicago Cubs player this year and why?
Awesome.
Because and people will say, the cynics out there will, and I am a cynic, but not in this case. The cynics out there will say, oh, well, you could say 5 guys because they don't have one superstar, but you also could say it could be one of 4 guys because they have some options. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, that's a great question, and please comment below and give us a like while you're at it as well. On the first day of spring training on Wednesday, the Cubs held their first session of media availability as Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins took the podium at Sloan Park. The biggest newsy element out of this is Kyle Hendricks will indeed begin the season on the injured list, and they are prepared to begin the season without him. We'll see what the timeline for the professor is. Sam mentioned earlier in the program about Cody Hoyer. Everything is progressing well on him.
Better than well.
But the 60-day DL is still in play, so he's likely to debut this summer, which the timing of that could work out real well.
Really well.
Depending on bullpen. And a few other things here. First, on the projections, Hoyer brought up that he believes with these projections there is a plus or minus 10 wins to these things, and the goal is to be on the plus side, upwards of double digits there. So 10 is a lot because if you take FanGraphs, has the Cubs projected 78. Okay, so that's 68 to 88. It's a big range, but it's good to know that the front office has that, barometer and that end goal to be plus 10. Maybe goes without saying, but I'm glad he said it. Carter Hawkins today, Sam, made a point about buckets of players in spring training. Well, first of all, is any closure in your mind on Hendricks today?
Yeah, you finish everything, and I'll address it all
awesome.
in one scoop because I have a lot.
So Carter Hawkins said there's 3 buckets of players in the spring. 1, players with the major league spot. 2, players fighting for a spot and auditioning for a role somewhere. And 3, players who are getting exposure and building towards being a solid major league piece in the future, which for most of that third bucket is the prospects and minor leaguers. During that part of his thesis of the buckets in spring training, Carter Hawkins name dropped Matt Mervis, which all but confirmed he will begin the year at AAA, which on the program we've been saying now for a couple weeks. And finally, the quote of the day from Jed Hoyer, who said this, quote, "Love the group of guys we brought in. They've won. They're super supportive of each other. I think we have a chance to have a group that comes together exceptionally well," end quote. What are your thoughts today from Jed and Carter?
First thing with Hendricks, you know this better than I do as a media guy. That sounds bad.
It sounds bad.
Yeah, that sounds like anything you get positive from Kyle Hendricks, take, because it just doesn't sound right. There's been no comments about it. I still don't even know the details of the shoulder.
Correct.
And the fact
there was no details today.
Yeah, and the fact that he's just not even going to be ready by opening day or close to it after missing most of the second half last year. Proceed with caution on Hendricks and kind of, I would almost just file that in your back pocket and wouldn't expect much from him. That's just me. I'm pretty good about interpreting what GMs speak. That's what that is. Opposite with Cody Hoyer, faster than expected. I think it's 10, 11 months from his TJ surgery.
Yeah, he had it in late March.
And he had a complicated Tommy John surgery. It wasn't like a basic one. I remember reading it was a big one. Like they did some other stuff. So him throwing from the mound already is a terrific sign. Quick thing on Jed's 10 plus or minus 10 wins. I know that feels like a lot, but there's so many examples. You remember the 2021 Giants? Remember how great that team was?
Wow. Yeah.
They,
100 plus wins.
I think it was 107. It was 106 or 107. They lost to the Dodgers in a 5-game series because they have that stupid rule where you have to play the wild card, even though the Dodgers won 105 games that year too. And actually, current Cubs center fielder Cody Bellinger had the biggest hit in that series. And you want to know what their over-under was? It was 75.5.
Oh, boy.
So, just that's enough with these projections. I was upset for day one. They could miss me with it. What was the last thing you said? Oh yeah, the Mervis thing. I'm done beating down that horse. But yeah, the Hendricks thing's really sad. I don't know. Again, it just does, like he was obviously the last 2 years have been a nightmare for him. It's basically been he's either incredible or absolutely unpitchable. And now he's battling this injury. And again, we never really got a major report on what the injury was. And I just kind of assumed, well, he'll be back by opening day. And now it doesn't sound like he's going to be close to being ready by opening day. He'll be starting the year in the IL. Maybe he goes down to AAA to get some starts. I don't know. Right. But that's to everyone always that says in the comments, trade him. You don't trade. I mean, you can't make his value any lower than it is right now. So hopefully the Cubs can figure it out. Maybe him and Hoyer become kind of like trade deadline pieces towards the middle of the year when the Cubs need it and he comes back because, I've said it, I'll say it again. Kyle Hendricks is my favorite Cub, my favorite of that era.
Wow.
And so I hope it doesn't end the way it's trending towards ending. So,
well, yeah, you just like to see him pitch again, be healthy.
Effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a bonus.
No, that'd be the expectation. He makes a lot of money. I don't want to see him come out there healthy and give up 8 home runs and 4 innings again.
Okay.
I'd rather have him miss than do that.
All right, fine. Who's to say that he doesn't have human value, and he's helping the young pitchers, and he's being a quasi coach, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see him in the spring.
You missed me with that.
And, no. So that's your new phrase, huh?
That's kind of becoming my new. That's like the diet soda of in-game stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a coach out there helping the guys. Well, you're paying a lot of money for him.
I have energy to do a post-game show. Is there any baseball on tonight?
Oh, man. Boy. Well, they got to figure out MLB Network and YouTube TV, man, because
you might make a pivot, right?
No, if I don't have MLB, and let me say this.
I'll get a new co-host.
Absolutely love YouTube TV.
Sunday Ticket is coming there.
If I don't have the MLB Network, I cannot perform this summer. I will have to change. I will have to invest.
In more ways than one.
Yes. I need the MLB Network. Well, to be fair though, I will just get the MLB package, and that's how I watch most of my games.
I'm thinking about getting MLB TV this year too, because
did
you see the breaking news today? All the minor league games are going to be under the package this year.
Oh, well then you should for the show. I get it every year, but I just like the MLB Network. Like it's just my comfort zone.
Watch the Smokies
from April through September. It's just my comfort channel.
Right. Well, it's a companion sport.
Yeah, but no, that's right. I'll get the MLB TV, so I'll be able to watch all the other games. The only game that's really hard to watch is my own team.
Coming up next is one of our favorite segments on the program. Dates back to our first show we did, Best and Worst of the Week. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. If you enjoy the show, tell somebody about it. Send a tweet, make a Facebook post, put the link in an email, or simply tell a Cubs fan the next time you see them. Well, we had a lot of worse last week, so I'm going to try to hold myself to bests, and I could do that because I have, you had
a good week.
It's my right and privilege to do it. So shout out to our freshman basketball team. I'm going to let these guys know at practice when I get there tonight that I gave them a shout out on the show. They'll occasionally will ask me about the show. And we enter Friday night's final game with an overall record of 24-2.
Incredible.
I haven't been a part of this much winning since 2008 when I was a junior in high school for a state championship winning baseball team.
As Martini drives one to left center.
Yes, high school teammates with former Cub Nick Martini. It's really cool. I don't take winning for granted because that '08 team changed me in more ways than I realized as I've grown up. But 24-2 is special,
No,
and this group is special not only in basketball, but they hang out together all the time. They have great conversation. They're a joy to be around, and those are separators because ultimately there's gonna be separation and other things too, and team dynamics and chemistry. And yeah, these guys can play, and I'm excited to see what they do the next 3 years.
Yeah, I'll be in attendance Friday night for that tilt.
532.
Yeah, no, that 24-2 is a ridiculous record. I think the best basketball like youth record I had growing up was like maybe like 32-7, 32-8.
Yeah.
24-2 is really, I mean, you could be playing against yourselves. I mean, that's a hard record.
Right.
It's a win percentage upwards of 95%, folks. 93, whatever it is.
Right.
No, it's great. Good for you.
Thank you.
My best of the week on a dramatic pivot here is going to be my immune system. Really proud of the way I just tackled that cold and sinus infection.
Yeah, you've done a nice job with that.
3-4 days, feel 100% today, and I'm really excited about it. And real quick, just to go, my worst of the week, because it's not Cubs related this week because there just wasn't much going on, is the NBA dunk contest. There's 4 guys in there. I've heard of one of them. And I watch the NBA every day. Can one of these guys making $80 billion a year maybe just grow up and on a Saturday night enter the dunk contest so we don't have to watch? I might as well just go to the park across my street,
Right.
lower the hoop to 8 feet, and invite everybody over and do one myself.
Right.
Because that's the credibility that's being put out. It's embarrassing, another embarrassment for the league.
How many years now has it been like that? It seems like
this
a
is
while.
the worst. It has been a while, but a few years ago, you had the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine thing.
Mhm.
This is abominable. I might as well just have you, me, and Nick lower that hoop right over there down to 8 feet and do some dunks and televise it on TNT. That's Turner owned, by the way.
Coming up next week, 5 shows. First time.
No worst of the week for you?
Nah,
No
worst of the week.
Why don't you ever do the segment? Yeah, best, just one best. We do a whole segment. Hey, we're gonna do 0 to 100 today. 0 to 100. I mean, geez, talk about.
I got to produce this program. You want me to host as well?
Luckily, the kids on your basketball team don't take those shortcuts that you're taking. Backdoor cuts, defend, help defense, shell. Dive on the floor for a loose ball. Take threes, but good ones.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcast. And drop us a text for the mailbag on Monday. There's a few in the queue already, 312-834-4634. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second listen, Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. Locked On MLB Prospects, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.